It's your boy Gabriel Hodder, Matthew Omen. We are all fight, no fight, primal fear. And you're watching BJ and DG Talk Wrestling. Yeah!
Welcome back, everybody. BJ here, DG over there.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Did we forget somebody this week? I feel like something's missing. I don't know. But something down below?
I got that.
I don't know. Aren't we supposed to have a guy here to ring the bell or something?
Well, this one's unsanctioned then.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dom.
Yes, that was absolutely great. Which I can't wait to talk about it. Which, speaking of, yeah, Saturday night's main event was actually, I think, the best one they've done so far.
Yeah, it had its flaws, but it was a good show.
Yeah, it was pretty much kind of what we expected it to be.
They all have been, but yeah, this one especially.
I mean, this one saw a title change for the first time since its return to being on TV every couple months or whatnot, and a new champion crowned.
I drank a beer. I drank another beer. 3 beers. 4 beers.
Oh no.
5 beers.
Oh
6 beers. 7 beers. 8 beers. 9 beers.
This is not a beer tonight. I ran out of beer. Drank too many Friday night.
Well, yeah, let's talk about it, as one Trick Williams would say, and start off with what was the opening contest of Saturday night's main event. And the slight change to the rules from this past Friday night during the contract signing, where Drew talked Cody into giving up the championship advantage, which does play a role in this match, especially with the finish of the match.
Yeah, it was a smart move. Drew said he wouldn't sign the contract, and they ended up taking away champion's advantage, which,
Why
I don't
would
know
you
what
give
Cody
that
was
up?
thinking.
That just didn't seem like a smart move to just give up
No.
the championship advantage. But hey,
But yeah, your top babyface is a fighting champion,
yeah. So, and this, I was impressed by I think it was in the beginning of the match. That standing Claymore Drew did.
Oh yeah.
That was impressive. Like, you could have almost seen the 3 count happen there.
Oh yeah. Yeah, this match, it was action-packed, but it felt really short. Maybe it's just me.
It felt more fast-paced in how they structured the match more than anything.
Well,
And
yeah.
considering what we see in the main event, we kind of understand why. Because that was, I didn't feel like it was, I felt like it was just the right length to open the show. I mean, especially considering it was only on Peacock. It wasn't actually on NBC because of college football.
Right. Well, the last one wasn't either, right?
No, I think the last one was on both. Because anything usually like that, they broadcast on Peacock anyway.
Right. I'm pretty sure the last one you could only watch on Peacock.
I don't know, no, because I watched it on TV. I actually watched that on NBC.
Maybe that was this one, and I'm just getting time all confused.
Damn.
Told you, this is why we can't have nice things, man. But yeah, what a match it was for the championship. And I'm hoping this is the last time we see these two. But there were several moments where I'm watching the match, and I'm almost expecting Drew to win at this point.
Oh yeah, a lot of close falls.
There was one that I think was it that match or the Jey Uso CM Punk match where the referee looked like he was about to count. One of the matches, referee looked like it was going to be 3. Might have been the Intercontinental match, and the shoulder barely comes up, and the chant just starts chanting "You suck" at the ref.
I remember that. I just don't remember what match it was.
Go figure, right? But yeah, and then we get to the finish, and Drew has Cody had the belt in the ring, which led to a whole thing, and Drew, I guess he used it, right? He connects with a shot on Cody, and eventually Cody gets back up, and we get a moment where it's like a DDT being set up for, and Drew's reaching down for the belt, has it in his hand. The referee's now knocked out at this point. And Cody hits a DDT, which ends up being on the belt, but Drew did it to himself. If I was the referee, I wouldn't be able to disqualify Cody for that, because he didn't have possession of the belt.
Right.
At anything, if he's doing a DDT, and the belt's in Drew's hands, he kind of hit himself with the belt.
Yeah. I don't know. I could see it going either way.
I mean, I just don't see that being a disqualification. Like, you bring a weapon, you have a weapon, and it ends up coincidentally being used on you, and because it's still in your hand, in your possession, that's your problem. If anything, you should get disqualified for hitting yourself with a weapon. But yeah, what is next for Drew or Cody?
I don't know. A lot of storylines ending / beginning right now. It'll be interesting to see, because I have a feeling if this is going to keep going, it's going to take a little.
Could it spill into like a War Games match where they just happen to be in the match together?
Possibly, but I think it's going to take a little detour for now. Maybe have like a short rivalry for each of them. But yeah, like who's going to step up and challenge the champ next? You know.
I mean, because we're not long off from Survivor Series.
Yeah.
So, if they're going to do some type of big blow-off, maybe it's in War Games.
War Games! Yowie wowie!
But yeah, I'm looking forward to where this could possibly go, just for either guy, because it does seem like there's clean slates on both of them at the moment to move on to another story. That could just keep them parallel, because if they're going to do one more blow-off match, it'll probably be the Royal Rumble. So then everything pre-WrestleMania season is out of the way.
Yeah.
And we have the closure to that story and the lead into whoever wins the Rumble.
Yeah, this definitely doesn't feel over, but it feels over for now.
Yeah, but we can see Drew coming out and complaining because, again, he got his fair shot lost.
Yeah, but then we see a face come in and challenge him. You know?
Yeah.
The way to swerve it for now.
So then after that match, we get a quick segment with Tiffany Stratton before she goes out to defend her championship. Absolutely agree, but the problem becomes only one person can hold the belt at a time. And you know what? I wouldn't be surprised to see maybe Drew McIntyre challenge Dragunov at some point. I think there could be money there in that match.
Yeah.
Dragunov could be the next coming of a Drew McIntyre. You know, we look 5, 6, 7 years down the road, and he could be right in that Drew McIntyre spot.
So he's going to get fired and go to TNA and wrestle in Europe?
Let's hope not. Because I think Dragunov now is better than that version of Drew.
The version of Drew that got fired, like
I'm-
clean-shaven Drew.
Like
Yeah, I
3M,
agree.
yeah.
But Drew in TNA and
No, I'm talking about pre-firing.
okay, yeah, no, that version of Drew definitely, yeah. Dragunov
Like
is
the
definitely-
Chosen One.
yeah, right.
Like, not that the Chosen One gimmick was bad. It's just they ran out of stuff for him. He got in trouble, and everything went where it went.
Drew Galloway, however, in the UK Indies and TNA.
He didn't do nothing with New Japan?
I don't think so. I know I saw him on a couple different UK indie shows. One was I think he was in like the What Culture Rumble. He's like a 50-man, I think, Rumble. I don't know. He was like the surprise #1 entrant, surprise final entrant.
Something like that, right?
Yeah.
So now we have the WWE Women's Championship match. And now heel Jade Cargill challenging Tiffany Stratton. And Tiffy did not step up to the challenge. We want to talk about matches that were short.
Yeah. Well, that was a squash match.
Yeah.
Like, Tiffy just didn't have a shot. She was coming in hurt anyway. She did her best. But it was Tiffy time for her to lose that belt.
And that bitch is now the WWE Women's Champion, Jade Cargill, which I popped for it. I was like, yes, it's about time. And it's a heel Jade.
She definitely deserves it.
And I think it'll work better for her at the moment, especially being a heel.
Yeah.
But it's kind of interesting now, right? She's heel. Naomi left as a heel. Whenever Bianca Belair returns, are we kind of looking at that being one of the feuds?
Yeah, most likely. Because WWE just hate variety. Like in AEW, like you see matchups you would never think you would see every week. In WWE, you see the same matchups with the same people.
Or some type of variation of it. Even though I will say, when it came to, who was it, Sheamus and Drew? Or whoever Sheamus, and Rusev, was Sheamus and Rusev. When they had that, 6-week feud every week, a match on Raw, I'm just I'm looking forward to this every week.
It's rare, though. Like, you see people over and over again, in the same type of matches. Yeah.
But it was just because of the intensity in the match. You're you're getting a hard-hitting match, and it's something that you're going to enjoy. And they were given time to go out there and have the matches. So what's next for Jade and Tiffy? Is there an immediate rematch we see happening?
Tiffy's probably going to be out for a little while. Maybe, a couple weeks to a month, I'm thinking. Give some time for someone else to step in and challenge. Maybe Bianca comes back healthy soon. We'll see that sooner than we think. Otherwise, I can't really think of anyone. Nia, maybe, would be the only one who comes immediately to mind.
Yeah, but she just lost to Alexa.
Right, so, she's not looking the best right now. Yeah.
Yeah, that... you got Candice LeRae over there.
Yeah, I don't know if she's in that league at this point.
Well, I'm just saying somebody just to step up and be a challenger in the middle.
Right.
Not necessarily somebody who has to win.
I mean, when was the last time we even saw her in the ring?
Yeah, right. You could put her up against Charlotte. Or Alexa, for that matter. Because then that's just, it could be a dirty finish.
Right.
It doesn't have to be clean. But I would want to let Jade look dominant in her first couple matches. So maybe with somebody like a Candice LeRae who can go in there, work with her. Or a B-Fab.
Meet Shin.
I wouldn't necessarily say Chelsea Green, but that would be an interesting feud. But
Right.
they're both heel, so... Yeah, the women's division over there is kind of heel heavy right now, isn't it?
Yeah.
I guess we will see.
Yeah, I mean, even Julia and Kalani.
Oh boy, we had to bring up Kalani, huh? And you met Kiana.
Yeah,
James,
I always do that.
and Julie, yeah. But you had to. Oh, I still feel a frog splash into the legs while sitting in the ropes. She just bent her legs. That's all she did in that match, and it was a good match. But anyway, that's NXT. We are not talking NXT. We
Yeah.
are talking Saturday night's main event. And now we have the Intercontinental Championship match. Triple threat. Dirty Dom after, getting Los Grandes' help to break up that match, allegedly. Adam Pearce, in his anger and wisdom, put Dom in there for a triple threat match. Which, this was a fun match to watch.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like each match was placed in the right spot, given the idea that you could have swapped Cody and Drew and Jay and Punk, but they wanted to give Jay and Punk as much time as possible.
Not just that. That definitely, 100% on paper, that's the main event.
I mean, either way, the show, just like we talked about last week, either way it went, it was still a hot start. It was just, what mood did you want the fans being in going forward?
Right.
Because if you think about it, Tiffy and Jade would have been the cool-off match, because the next two matches are full of heavy spots.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. But, I mean, it was a short card, so you don't really need a cool-off like that.
But you don't want you want the fans to at least still have, some type of energy getting to that main event. But no, a lot of fun spots in the triple threat match. There was a couple moments where I thought Rusev had to win. Even before what happened at the end. With Dirty Dom ringing the bell when Rusev had Penta in the, what's it called? His version of the camel clutch.
The Accolade.
The Accolade, yeah.
What I found hilarious about this was this Friday night? I'm getting confused. Yeah, no, it was. Dom had brought in the belt, I think it was, into the ring, and, got caught by the ref about to use it.
Yeah.
Or no, it was a chair.
Something like that.
Yeah. So he throws
night.
it to Rusev and gets caught, and the ref is like, "What are you doing? You can use this. It's a no DQ. It's triple threat." Yeah, that was a funny little moment there.
Oh yeah. Still trying to get away with stuff, and it's just like, wait, damn, that trick won't work. Now here's the irony of something. With Jade winning the WWE Championship and Women's Championship, and Dirty Dom retaining the Intercontinental title, he is now the longest reigning champion in all of WWE, currently 193 days.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, there's been a lot of belt changes, a lot more than usual.
But him and Tiffy were, and kind of Cody and Cena, I guess, have been the consistent ones.
Yeah.
But yeah, interesting to see who steps up next, because this isn't over with Rusev and Penta. It's
Right.
just now figuring out a way which one of those two will move on next. So, my bad. My dog distracted me.
Yeah, main event overall. Like I said, a lot of the matches felt very short, but they definitely gave the time that each match needed, especially the main event.
Yeah, absolutely. Do we see somebody new step up for the Intercontinental title at the moment?
Um,
Because there have been some rumors out there about Cena and Dom at Survivor Series. He drops the title to Cena. Cena gets his Grand Slam champion status, and he just drops it in his last match. But given now the announcement from something last night after this, which something interesting, the last time is now tournament
I love a good
to
tournament.
determine John Cena's final opponent.
See, I don't think it needs to be for gold, but
No, neither do I.
I wouldn't mind it if it was. But yeah, this is great. Cena was quoted saying, what am I talking about? Cena said, could be people from Raw, SmackDown, NXT, or people who don't even work there. So maybe TNA, maybe AAA. 16 competitors.
Come
Tournament.
on, Joe Hendry.
Tournament to take on Cena at the next Saturday Night Main Event in his final match.
Now, interesting, some of the people they showed or were mentioned during that announcement, The Miz, Solo Sikoa, Sheamus, LA Knight, Drew McIntyre, Penta, Carmelo Hayes, Gunther, Dominic Mysterio, Bronson Reed, and Rusev. Some of these guys, he has history. He has extensive history with Rusev.
Yeah,
Miz,
outside WWE,
Sheamus,
Jeff
and-
Hardy comes to mind. I know I said that last week, but he comes to mind as someone who could possibly be in the tournament.
Now, those are just 11 names, so it's an odd number. Doesn't mean any of them are in it.
Right.
Another name I wouldn't mind seeing in it, if given his call-up was happening sooner than later, would be Trick Williams.
Also, Dolph Ziggler / Nick Nemeth.
Another younger talent, if it would be that time, Obafemi.
I knew you were going to say Obafemi.
He does just to be in the tournament. He doesn't have to win the tournament, but just to be in it, because you could beat him and cheat him out of it, or you do a double count out on two people you don't intend on being there anyway. And somebody like Gunther gets the bye where he doesn't even need it, but you know what? Just for Destiny to be that thing.
I mean, undefeated streak and all, I'm not sold on Obafemi right now. Like, you need to build him up again before you do anything like that with him.
I disagree.
I know.
I think there would be building up to do on the main roster, but it would just be who.
There'd be building up to do to get to the main roster.
And if the rumors are true that it's going to be Gunther in the end, no matter what, I don't see why you would do the Intercontinental title then.
Right.
If anything, it would be more, hey, if this person happens to beat Cena, they get a championship. They get a world championship match of their choosing, whether it's for the WWE title or the World Heavyweight Championship. And then you can have Gunther go after Punk, because that would make sense. Because Punk's the reason why he lost the title, because he beat him at SummerSlam. It just so happened Punk got cashed in on afterwards. There's a decent amount of names out there of somebody you would maybe expect.
Oh, yeah. I mean, a ton of them. And with, WWE's reach right now, they have 5 brands to pick from. 6, actually.
Mr. Iguana versus John Cena, Saturday night's main event, December 13th. in Washington, D.C.
Book it and give me my money back.
Doesn't work for me, brother.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to see how that plays out.
Yeah.
To see what the bracket actually is. Because there's some few... I mean, because... What about Braun Breaker? Like, that would be... If they see the future in them that they see, that would be a big win to say he was the man. Regardless was going to be his last match or not. Who retired John Cena.
Sure. I mean, I could think of, like, you know, a full 64 name field that I would want to see. I love a good tournament, you know.
It ends in the main event of WrestleMania. That's just March Madness wrestling style at this point. A couple matches a week, we can stretch that out to WrestleMania.
Yeah,
hell, maybe we can get Cena. Hell, maybe we can get Cena around for a whole nother year with that.
Nah, man, one night tournaments. One night, 16-man, one night tournaments. That's the way to go.
Can't we just do that for the King of the Ring? Make King and Queen of the Ring a weekend event. You do one night for the men, one night for the women.
Yeah, I mean, I would prefer that.
You know, that's one thing I do miss about that show was that we had preliminary matches and stuff to lead up, but then we had like a full 8-person field for the pay-per-view, and you still figured out how to fit in maybe a tag team championship match or some other like high feud match that was going on at the time. But yeah, looking forward to this John Cena tournament. It should, like I said, should be interesting to see who comes out on top.
We should be hearing something by Friday at the latest, I would think.
I think we'll hear more about it tomorrow, because if it's going to be from all brands, we might start seeing people wanting matches to get into the tournament.
I mean, that's, you know.
I'll throw another one out there just random. A Finn Balor John Cena match. So I don't think those two have ever really fully crossed paths one-on-one.
I don't know, but I would love to have seen it, like, you know, back like 5 years ago.
Where we could have had an actual full-blown feud.
Right. And also, like, non-Judgment Day, like, Finn's, like, in a tag team now and, like, doing that whole thing.
But we see how that goes when the opportunity presents itself.
Oh, yeah. But, like, you know, just with the whole, like, Judgment Day and what's going on with them, how they're, like, breaking up every week, I don't think we would see him, like, in anything outside of that unless it was, like, directly involved. Like, you know, Dom comes out to help him and costs him the match or something.
I was waiting for that during the triple threat match.
Yeah, right?
In all honesty, I was waiting for it. But instead, this is what we got.
What was that? What happened? Yeah, that was well executed.
Yeah, I thought that was well done.
Yeah. The look of confusion on everyone.
But now, let's get to the main event of Saturday night's main event. For the vacant WWE World Heavyweight Championship.
It's a shame that Vacant had to lose his belt. It was a really good reign.
Nah, this reign was short. It was a paper reign. And anyway, I think at this point, I think this is the son of Vacant.
El Hijo de Vacant?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, I'm making El Hijo de Vacant on WWE 2K tonight.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and now I'm going to say this. I really like the Jey Uso shirt for Saturday night's main event. Because they had it with Saturday night main event Jey Uso. Like, just how they were able to do the phrasing for it. I'm like, it's right there. They went with the low-hanging fruit, and it worked. Those crazy son of bitches did it.
I don't even know if that's PG.
Fernando Zayas in the chat. How are you doing?
What's going on?
Welcome, welcome. We're just here talking about CM Punk versus Jey Uso. Which I really thought they put that match together very well. They gave it the time it really did deserve for being in the situation it was in, the framework of what it was in as the main event.
I don't know how long it actually was, but it felt like a good, like, close to an hour-long match.
No, I want to say it was probably about 15, 16 minutes. And then with entrances, about 20, 25 minutes with entrances and commercials. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to look that up.
And why did you not like the match, sir? I didn't think the match was horrible. If it's one thing I was really disappointed at, and after you had finished your stream last night, I was talking to you while we were watching it, and this constant reuse of the Adam Page CM Punk finish in AEW. Like, can we save that for times when it matters?
Well,
you know, like the triple crossroads. Cody's not using it all the time anymore.
It's the super finisher.
I'm just saying, like, the double GTS thing like that. Like, can we figure out another way to set this up or something? Or he just picks the guy up and hits another one?
What do you mean? I don't understand what you mean.
So, how they did the first false finish in the match at that point after the spear through the barricade. Where Punk hits a GTS, falls to his knees. Jey Uso bounces off the ropes and falls right back on CM Punk's shoulders. Just for him to pick him up and hit another GTS. They used, that was the exact finish in AEW for the CM Punk Adam Page world title match. Like, they've used it several times in this year alone. I think they did it at WrestleMania. I know he did it against Rollins.
Maybe they're just trying to minimize it. You know? Because it's never... has it been used as a finish?
Yes. They used it last night. At the second time he did it, he got it.
But I mean, generally when they use it, it's usually kicked out of, isn't it?
No, it's usually the end of the match.
Actually, come to think of it.
Because it's two GTSs back to back. It's just the coincidence that every time CM Punk falls to his knees, the guy just bounces off the ropes and falls right, like...
He hits his GTS so perfectly that he knows exactly the movement it's going to create and what position to be in.
Yeah. Well, last week we actually had this exact discussion here on the show that we were kind of disappointed that it wasn't LA Knight in that match. Even if LA Knight didn't win, it felt like he deserved to be there more. But I get the idea of what WWE was doing, was taking their two top stars on Raw at the moment that the fans cheer for more than anybody else, and putting them in the match in the main event of this special episode of wrestling for Saturday night's main event for a vacant championship. Because you can legitimately tell they're building up Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker for something, especially Braun Breaker.
Oh, yeah.
If this was 20 years ago, or even 10 years ago, Vince would have rushed and put the title on Breaker. He would have just skipped to the end without that build. Because now, pending how long, if Seth can't get back early from his injury, which at all points would look like at the earliest right now, the Raw after Mania, is that's going to be an immediate feud. Otherwise you don't do that. Because by then Punk won't be champion most likely, or he will have just dropped the title. Because at this point Punk's champ going into WrestleMania. barring some epic moment. There's no money in the bank out there to stop it. He would have to legitimately get screwed out of the title or be in some weird multi-man match where he doesn't take the fall. Or Braun Breaker just straight up challenges him and beats him.
Right. That's not out of. I don't see like why that wasn't an option.
But at the moment, I think we move on to LA Knight and CM Punk now.
Yeah.
They've been already charging up that feud. It had to take a step back for a couple weeks to do this match with the vacating of the championship. And
they'll probably have the Bronze constantly lurking in the background for the course of this feud as well.
Yeah. So there's a lot there for them to work with right now. And Punk being champion is a fresh face in that spot. But yeah, Monday Night Raw tomorrow night should be very, very interesting to see where this goes. Because we got a lot of stuff with a fresh start. Which, speaking of Monday Night Raw, let's talk about that a little bit. Because I have a bone to pick with Monday Night Raw this week. All I know is, yeah. So, to step back a little bit, the show kicked off with Jey Uso CM Punk face-off. Which I thought was kind of funny when CM Punk did the whole rerunning of the music thing for his theme song. I thought that was great. I actually thought that segment was pretty entertaining for what it was.
Yeah.
Especially with two babyface guys at the moment. But yeah. So then after that, we get a backstage segment with Judgment Day. Still teasing the split, which we've all been waiting for. I'm just wondering where the split happens because I don't see it fully happening until Liv Morgan returns. Which just seems it's right around the corner and it's just a matter of when now.
They've been making like that for the last 6 months, though, every week.
Well, I'm saying about the past 3-4 weeks, maybe 6 at the most, to where now they're making sure to catch like the photo of her or some reference of her in the clubhouse shots.
Right.
To where before they could have been there and they were easily missed, as compared to they're making sure we get this in the shot. We want people to see this. We want people to start questioning where she is. Because I could see a very dynamic split within the Judgment Day where the women go one way and the men go the other.
Yeah,
and Dom's loyalty is the one that's in question.
Right, yeah, that's one way to do it. Yeah, it'll be interesting, to see where the loyalties lie when they split. But I have a feeling all the men are just, except, Finn and JD will probably remain as a team. Maybe not. But I feel like...
I can see them being a team, but also doing split stuff at the same time. Like, hey, we'll still wrestle as a tag team, but we're also going to look for singles championship opportunities.
Maybe
Because one random match that is out there that could happen as an in-between match, and I know I said his name already, but Finn Balor, CM Punk? I just to have the match happen.
Yeah, but he hasn't really been in that,
But it's one of those things to where, let's just say, Wrestling 101, right? CM Punk's in the ring cutting a promo. We'll say tomorrow night, and he's putting Jay over. Oh, you almost had my number, I had to dig down deep to beat you, and he calls him out to shake his hand. Instead, we get Finn Balor coming out, and Finn Balor eggs him on into a one-on-one match for the main event of Raw. So we get a nice little 12-minute match, some type of a messed up finish to where there's no real winner, and you get to gauge the crowd reaction to it. We've seen weirder in pro wrestling.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Like this very basic 101 as a way to have him defend the title right away and still set up what's coming next. Because then you could have LA Knight coming out there and interfering in the match. You could have the Bronze coming out and interfering in the match. Just showing that target on Punk's back at this point.
Right.
Division's lurking behind him. You have You have LA Knight lurking behind him. You still have a Jey Uso lurking behind him. You know, which is going to be very interesting because where does Jey Uso go from now? Is it the heel turn we're kind of hoping is coming to refresh this?
Heel Uso, please.
Like, I definitely think the heel turn would freshen stuff up for him. A little bit, because now you can take away the replaying of the entrance from the fans.
Right.
I guess it's just more of a matter of how we get there. Like, what would Jey Uso have to do to get the fans to turn like that on him? Because it seems like doing something big doesn't necessarily get the reaction you want now. Like, let's be honest. If Cody Rhodes had turned full-blown heel on set last night, that crowd would have cheered.
I mean, all it would really take in most cases is just you come out and cut a promo on the crowd and whoever the next, the biggest baby face is.
You know, like turning Dom face, I think would be easy. Let's just say he comes out and makes the save for his dad.
Yeah, he hasn't even been around.
Yeah, but apparently he's wrestling some big AAA event coming up, so his return is there, just around the corner. But anyway, back to Raw. We already kind of talked about the number one contenders match where Los Grande interfered, setting up the triple threat. Now, after this first hour of Raw, this is what it was. Segment, match. Segment with LA Knight. Segment with the Bronze and Heyman. Some commercial breaks also in between to be clear, this wasn't like it was commercial free. This is then an Asuka video package. And then a backstage segment with Pierce talking to Dom, and then JD and Finn show up, and it sets up a rematch for the tag team titles with Dragon Lee and AJ Styles. And then
1 hour later,
we get Roxanne Perez and Nikki Bella in a one-on-one match.
Like, why don't they just advertise that the first hour is going to be all promos, and then put, I don't know, maybe something in the next hour or two, like matches, maybe.
It doesn't
and
work
like
for me, bro.
just get all the promo nonsense out of the way. That way, I don't have to waste an hour, and I can take a nap before I watch. Because they're going to recap everything.
Yeah, it's just weird because when we talk about, usually we'll see maybe 2 matches in the first hour, Maybe a possibility of a third match, or a third match that's supposed to happen that doesn't. Like something that just shifts it away. But it was just all video packages and backstage segments and commercials outside of one match. And I want to say the Nikki Bella, Roxanne Perez match starts minutes before the top of the hour. They started the entrances. So literally
1 hour later,
we're finally getting a match again. Like, I get being storyline driven, but you are still a wrestling show. So in turn, can we see some wrestling?
Look at Wednesday night and what they did. You started off with an absolute banger of a match. You follow that up with maybe a backstage segment. I don't remember, but it was short if there was one. And then
there was 2 backstage segments.
Okay.
If we're not counting, because there was a commercial break somewhere in there also.
Right.
Just going by without the commercials. You had the tornado tag with Darby and Cassidy against Yuta and Garcia. And then we got a promo from Hook. And then we got a backstage interview with Don Callis where the Young Bucks also appeared. And then we got the number one contender tag team match, which we will be talking more about later. But back to your point.
Yeah, we'll get there. But, like, that's... I was after Monday. I was watching on Wednesday, and I was like, "This is how you start a show." We are,
1 hour later.
and I've seen nothing but action and maybe the occasional 30-second segment, like backstage.
Yeah, that was a tough watch through for the first hour of Raw. It really was. And I'm not one who complain. I complain about how cookie cutter and formula it is to a point where it's always the same thing. It's never slightly altered week to week. And even if you go back and watch old stuff, you know, most shows start off with a promo, which is fine. But you also occasionally had a show that kicked off with a match like, hey, you know, let's just say we had the announcement of the John Cena thing. We get the recap of Saturday night's main event. We get to the announcers inside the arena, and we get them saying, oh, hey, and the next thing we saw before we went to them was a package for the John Cena tournament. The last time is now tournament. And like, hey, this tournament is so important that we are kicking the show off with a qualification match right now for the first person to be entered into this tournament.
Right.
Or this is the first match in the tournament. We didn't promote the match. We're just kicking off with it.
Give me a reason to turn it on early.
Yeah, give me a reason to sit through the ads here in America.
Yeah. Yeah, give me a reason to want to be watching at 8 o'clock.
You know, which granted, because I have other prior obligations here, you know, Pro Wrestling Star Academy. You know, usually I miss the first about half hour, 45 minutes by the time I get home, and I just start back from the beginning. And usually by the time I'm caught up, I might catch the ads for the last half hour of the show. Because I'll just catch up on the stream because it cuts the commercials when you do it live. Which is really weird. I don't think there should be commercials if I go back to watch the replay. Another complaint for another time. But I will use this sound clip just for that.
You just made the list.
But yeah.
The Ginger Co.
But in a surprising fashion, we did have Roxanne Perez defeat Nikki Bella this week.
Yeah.
A little bit of a beatdown. Stephanie Vauquier, Women's World Champion, comes out to make the save. And we get a nice little face-off with Vauquier and Raquel. Very interesting. I think this is where we're working up toward the Liv Morgan return now. You know, Raquel maybe fails at getting the title. And now bring Liv back. Like, all right, I see you. You tried. You tried to hold down the tag team titles. Couldn't do it. You couldn't win the women's title. You know why? Because I wasn't here. Because there's a possibility in all this, Roxanne goes back on her own. Coming out of all three of these ladies are back on their own now.
Yeah.
Which I think would suck for the tag team division. Because I
What
like
tag team division?
the women's tag team division. What remnants there are of a tag team division, it would suck to lose another team because any pairing of those three, I think, would be a great team. Put Roxanne and Liv together as a tag team?
Yeah, I think there's probably going to be some beef there between Liv and Roxanne. Like, you know, not just Dom related, but like kind of Liv being jealous of her taking her spot.
I mean, it was that or lose the titles at the time, right?
Yeah. But like, not just like in that match, like taking her spot and being successful at it, you know, consistently.
Yeah, I agree. Hey, look, we have another backstage segment with Lyra and the Kabuki Warriors. Bailey shows up. You know, which is just them setting something up for the future. Which the future is this week coming up, because I believe Lyra and Bailey are having a match with the Kabuki Warriors on Raw. And then we had a couple segments with the Usos. It definitely felt like they were going to set up a match between the two, and then they did the second segment and kind of backed off from it a little bit. I mean, I don't mind if they go that route, but it can't be a drawn-out feud at the moment. because I think there's bigger, better things for Jay, and I think having Jimmy over on SmackDown, doing his own thing will be good. Because he can sit there and be with Jacob when he returns. We still have all that going on. We have anything going on with MFT, which, if we've learned anything, no matter what, these paths are going to cross, because there's just so many of the family and adjacent family members, it's hard to avoid.
And because WWE just can't help themselves.
I mean, hey, you know what? There's times to where I'm just like, what the hell? And there's times where I'm like, hey, I'm enjoying this. Not everything's going to be a hit. It just seems like right now it's not the fact that it's a hit or a miss. It's just the fact that it's right in the middle, and we're having a reaction to it more than, oh, this is absolutely awesome. Oh, no, this is the shits. That just seems that's more where it's at, you know. Because I won't say that WWE programming's all garbage, because it's not. I find things that are still entertaining for me to see. It's just some of it is a pain to get through, like the first hour of Raw this week.
Most of Raw.
Braun Breaker versus LA Knight wasn't bad. Braun Breaker picked up a big first win. JD defeating Sheamus with nice little assist from Finn. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Another a segment I was actually interested in. Maxine getting another championship opportunity, but when she's ready. She's like, I appreciate it. Give somebody else a shot now. Let me go train, because I know I can beat Becky. Is Maxine the one to dethrone Becky in a shocking fashion?
Yeah, she's going to have to train for a good another 3 or 4 years to get to that level.
But I'm saying, the way they did that match that they did, Maxine was right there.
Oh, yeah. Maxine, she's definitely got potential, but
we've seen she's greatly improved over the last 2 years now. She's been doing 2.5 years from the Chad Gable stuff and Alpha Academy to where it's at now. I think she's improved a lot, and I'm not going to say that she made herself look good, because Becky's a part of that as well.
Yeah.
But it's interesting, because right now Becky's kind of in limbo of where do we go with Becky from here with that championship. If it's not Maxine, then who is it?
There's some
at the
ladies
moment
there.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind seeing Roxanne take a swing at that Intercontinental Championship. You got Raquel going for the Women's World Championship. Have Roxanne go for that Women's Intercontinental Championship. But the problem becomes that could turn Roxanne babyface. And again, women's division on both shows seems really heel heavy. Which is a problem, because without a lot of faces, where do they go? That's why we're in this endless war. It's not even a circle; it's a whirlpool. And
you can always turn someone heel or face. That's not an issue.
But I'm just saying, to get Becky, Roxanne would have to turn babyface, or they just have to deal with getting those reactions. But then again, like I said earlier, right? Does it really matter anymore? Who's heel, who's face? Because the fans will cheer who they like and boo who they hate.
Right.
Whether it's, or they're just there for the ride in the moments.
Yeah, there aren't really too many more women in that division. I'm looking over the roster now. We got maybe Ivy Nile, but Lyra, not a lot going on down there. Natalia.
Yeah, there's just not a lot there. For how good NXT is when it comes to having their divisions built and defined, we could clearly define the women's North American title division. We can clearly define the NXT women's division.
Now, 6 months ago, I remember on the show we were like, "Who is there?"
But there were just so many names we could say. It was just a matter, because we're talking about Jordan Grace just getting into stride in that division.
Yeah.
We're in the very early, we're mid TNA NXT relationship of lead, where we got to with Trick winning the title but Hendry dropping it to him and everything. So we were amidst a lot of big stuff and the beginning of stuff happening. NXT just also has the idea that, hey, TNA, we want to book some of your talent. Or AAA, hey, we want to book some of your talent.
Right. Yeah, and they're, going to love the exposure and, the recognition.
I did really enjoy the women's tag team championship main event from Raw, though. I thought that was a fantastic match. I'm not saying 5-star, but that was a fantastic match for what I expected going into it.
Well, that was the Kabukis.
They come out and attack both teams at the end.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
After Flair and Bliss pick up the win with the dueling, what's it called? Charlotte does it. It's like that flipping neck breaker from sitting down.
Natural selection.
Yeah, they did like dueling natural selections.
That's right. Yeah. Remember?
Yeah.
So long ago.
And just real quick before we get to the top of the next hour, we still have a couple other things to actually talk about. There was some interesting news this week. Another wrestling organization that is kind of making a return, and that being SPO Wrestling. November 7th, 14th, and the 21st at the Pro Wrestling Star Academy. Come see SPO Wrestling live. $10 tickets. And also, on top of that, after that show, Monster Factory will also be running a show, and that $10 admission covers both shows. So come out and see some great indie wrestling at one of the top places you can see it, at the Pro Wrestling Star Academy in Mount Holly, New Jersey. And then, also, don't forget, PWU Justified, November 22nd, where the only match I've seen announced at the moment still is the Fatal 4-Way for the PWU Championship, with Justified, JP Grayson, defending against Rick Blade, Johnny Kashmere, and Joey Janela. And if you go online and buy tickets at pwunplugged.com, use promo code GINGER, GINGER, and save yourself some money.
I always thought it was 2 J's.
Dummy. Yeah.
But yeah, let's talk a little NXT. And we'll start off with what was threaded through the entire night, and this is the whole thing with Trick Williams and Ricky Saints for this NXT championship. Now, after their last match, I'm not saying it felt like the goodbye for Trick, but it feels like we're getting there, right? We've seen, if anything in the history of NXT, even with Sean running it now, is we still kind of get these moments.
Yeah.
You know, for the fans. And it seems like we're working up to that. I feel like Trick is main roster bound now. Because there's nothing else left for him to do in NXT.
Right. Yeah.
And I feel like the only reason he was still there was because they had plans to put the TNA championship on him.
Right. Yeah. Otherwise, he would have gotten called up a long time ago. If they weren't doing this whole TNA thing.
Yeah. So we get Trick interrupting production in the production area. You know, we get him now out in the ring, calling out Ricky Saints. And because he's upset that he lost to Ricky. Ava comes out. And one thing during this moment, which I absolutely love the NXT crowds for some of the stuff they do and some of the chants they come up with, because they just turned around and started chanting, "Trick got whooped." And absolutely great. I really enjoyed that. So then eventually Saints comes out and they just start brawling. We have this whole brawl going on. We got other stuff going on throughout the night. And then we get another segment where Trick is looking for Saints, runs into Kendall Gray and Ren Sinclair. You know, and they're like, oh, well, we haven't seen them. And I think there's another moment where it was Miles Bourne and the Tavion Heights match. After Miles Bourne beats him, something goes on after that match with Josh Briggs. And then we get them fighting again after that. Like, they were just all over the place fighting the entire night.
I love when shows do that. They just have a rivalry that just like goes throughout the whole show. Just they cut to them brawling. They're brawling all over the building. They brawl out into the ring. I always love that angle.
And then after the Kalani Jordan Grace TNA Knockouts Championship match in the main event, which we will talk about shortly, we get them coming out. They were practically out there during the match. Because it kind of helps lead to the finish of the match. And we have the spear through that same thing they always spear through with the platform on it. And we get Ava coming out at Goldrush for the NXT Championship. Ricky Saints will be defending against Trick Williams in a last man standing match.
Oh, yeah.
I kind of saw it coming, to be perfectly honest. Like, as the night's going on, like, I've seen this setup before.
Well, that feud, the way they built that feud, there's very few ways they can really conclude it.
I mean, it was that or an I Quit match. You know, and then we have Ricky Saints tap out Trick Williams to a sharpshooter.
Yeah, I mean, makes perfect sense. But yeah, last man standing. Oh.
I love last man standing matches, so I'm all for it. It's one of the more brutal deathmatch types.
Yeah, because you can do anything. It's just you don't have to pin the guy.
Which makes it even harder, because that's one of the hardest things, like when you look at boxing, right? Is
right.
When you get those TKO victories, like, damn. Hey, Steven Chambers in the chat, how you doing? But definitely looking forward to that, especially Goldrush being in MSG for 2 weeks. And we're looking at multiple championships from multiple promotions. Yeah. Evolve, NXT, and TNA. I wouldn't be surprised to see a AAA title defended somewhere in there too. Like maybe Dom defends his title.
Oh, that reminds me. I don't know if it was last week or the week before you had mentioned that you just saw a picture of the Wyatt Six standing over from AAA, holding the belt.
Yes.
Yeah. So they did not compete.
It was just a run-in. Again.
Yeah. They just did another run-in. I just wanted to... I don't know if that was last week or the week before. I just wanted to... We hadn't brought that up, and I just remembered.
But yeah, other things that happened on SmackDown, or not SmackDown, NXT. Jasper Troy defeats Axiom in the men's speed tournament finals. So... that should be interesting to see how that plays out. So I believe that's going to somehow crown the new champion. I don't know. So I don't remember. So I know Chad Gable was champion. Or, I'm sorry, El Grande Americano version 1.0.
What do you mean? It's the same guy it's always been.
It doesn't work for me, brother.
Yes, I will allow dead air to happen after you said that. Moving on. But yeah, I'm very interested with that. I think Jasper Choi has a huge high side, and it's very interesting to throw him into that mix, because usually that's been the faster paced people's matches and not the power guys matches.
Yeah.
But again, this is why I felt like the Speed Championship should have been. You could have just done the championship matches on X or the finals of these tournaments to set up a number one contender. And the titles would still be seen on TV. No, we don't see the titles now on TV until, hey, our deal with X/Twitter's not happening no more. But Mrs. Vacant also acquired a title this week. After Mr. Vacant, or before Mr. Vacant had to drop his, with Sol Ruka vacating the Women's Speed Championship. And it looks like we're going to get another tease of the split up between her and Zarya, because she wasn't happy with Sol Ruka's certain choice of words about how she defended that Women's North American Championship.
Yeah, wouldn't let her defend it rather than have her defend it. Just dropped it.
Los Grande. Something I thought, which I didn't even think about watching Halloween Havoc until Tatum Paxley pointed it out when she came out this week, was they didn't have the wheel.
Yeah.
But instead she used it to pick a new number one contender to face that night. Which Izzy Dame's arguing with. Sean Spears and the other guy are just like, yeah, whatever. She wants to be a fighting champion. We're all for it. You know, I'm just waiting for Izzy Dame to be the one to kick her out.
Yeah, it's coming.
Or Izzy, yeah, it has to be, because Tatum, the fans never turned on. They were just like, oh, cool, she finally has friends. But yeah, and the wheel lands on Lola Vice. Which, that match just ends in a no contest, because we get Fatal Influence coming out, and JC Jane wants her title back.
Obviously.
I don't see her getting it back.
No.
I mean, I thought she had a decent reign. She was able to be a dual champion. You know, a lot of vindication there for her hard work and being the third wheel of a couple groups, but here we are. I still don't see how, in the long run, like, she goes to the main roster. I don't see her in the main event on the main roster.
Oh, no.
I can see her maybe positioned at the top of the mid card, maybe.
At best.
You know, maybe things change and the character evolves more.
But yeah, I mean, that's what you're saying. You get called up and, like, you got to start at the bottom anyway. Like, as far as the fans haven't really seen you. You know what I mean? You haven't proven yourself on the main roster, but you got to work your way up. Maybe in a couple years I could see her, like, upper mid card.
I mean, it's not like how we've seen, and we kind of see it, because we see the people that, from NXT, like we saw Fraxium individually before their official call-up.
Right.
You know, like we've seen certain things, or we start seeing that they're doing tapings for main event. You know, okay, so now they're being exposed to these main roster crowds before making their full-blown debut on Raw or SmackDown. Which is a good way to do it.
Yeah. It's kind of like test marketing them.
You know, it would be like back in the day. Let's say we were watching Sunday Night Heat, right? And we see a guy from OVW. At the time, we probably wouldn't know. Be like, oh, all right, there's some local guy. But then, you know, like a year and a half, 2 years later, we see that, and for whatever reason, we see a clip online or something like that, or some reference made to it, like, oh yeah, these two had a match a couple years ago on a random Sunday Night Heat in the middle of the winter, you know, something.
I've definitely gone down the rabbit hole of, has so and so ever had a match in WWE, or, you know, and just seen like so many like Frankie Kazarian and like Samoa Joe back in like 2005, I think.
He was it, yeah. When
Like,
yeah, just like crazy stuff, or like you would completely forget that AJ Styles was in WCW at the very end.
yeah, Air Styles.
Yeah, and he couldn't use the shooting star press because Billy Kidman used it, and he didn't want to use it because he didn't want to step on the established guys' their toes. Which
Right.
I wish more wrestlers were like that today.
Yeah, I think the Machine Guns had a tryout match in WWE. The Bucks definitely did.
I think the Bucks were in the rebranded ECW for a short time as well, before they went to TNA. Like, it was very short-lived.
They've never been signed there. It must have been just a one-off.
I think it was more of like a month-long thing to where they taped the episodes, so they were able to use them like on that tour in that area for a couple weeks, and they were good enough to be able to come back, but they were just being squashed every time. Because then I remember seeing them on TNA. I was like, oh, hey, I remember those guys. I thought Miles Bourne and Tavion Heights from NXT was good this week too.
Miles Bourne, yeah, every time I see him, he just impresses me more and more.
Yeah. I mean, I'm impressed by Tavion Heights too.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Miles Bourne just it has the more compelling story at the moment, to where he's battling with a disability as well, so it kind of just is the draw to him at the moment. But we also see how good he is in the ring. He's gotten Randy Orton's endorsement on TV.
Yeah.
And even Josh Briggs, like I could see Josh Briggs with a nice gimmick, like where he's going, that trajectory continues. He's somebody he's, as an example, he is somebody, Josh Briggs, who I could see randomly entering an open challenge for Dragunov on SmackDown. And you're going to look like, to where they could have that hard-hitting match, and you're just sitting there like, yep. You give it another year and a half, and he'll work his way back to that moment. And then they're going to call that back.
I don't know if with such a crowded SmackDown roster, if they
No. But I'm just saying, like, something random, you know? Like, he's gone through, because I'm assuming at this point, Ciampa will be next in line next week, after this week.
I think they're going to keep snubbing him in some way.
Yep. Yeah, something along the lines to where something's just going to consistently happen.
Yeah. As far as Briggs goes, though, like, give him a year or two and a decent gimmick, and he's got a lot of potential. He's huge, and he can go, you know?
Yeah, like, he has some speed to him. He's not super fast, but he has speed, and we've seen him in the guys in NXT, like with Trick Williams. We've seen him in the ring with. We've seen him in the ring with Obafemi standing his own. So we know what he can do. It's just at the time these guys were champions, so you couldn't put down have him beat them, but you can make him look great in the match, and just the reason why these guys are champions and he's not at the moment. I mean, you know what? He's somebody I would even say that I wouldn't mind if it was a random thing. Like, he's somebody who you would sit there and look like, let's say that he somehow worked his way into the tournament against John Cena. You'd be like, that's kind of an X factor there, because nobody there is going to really know what he's capable of. Maybe they've seen his matches, but they've never, because he was in NXT. You know what? I like that comparison a lot.
Yeah.
I really do. I disagree with that. I 100. He's better than Damon Kemp.
Yeah, Damien Kemp.
At least in professional wrestling.
Right.
You know, if we're going to talk about anybody being a reject of somebody, we can always talk about the worst number one pick in the history of Monday Night Raw. In any draft ever, because he never wrestled. Can anybody tell me who I am talking about?
Wait, repeat that?
Monday Night Raw, and not the last draft, I want to say the draft. It was one of the first drafts after COVID.
Yeah, I just can't remember his
Raw name. Selected a gold medalist for the Olympics out of NXT as their number 1 overall draft pick, and he never appeared on the other side of the guardrail to actually compete. He only appeared in the crowd a couple times.
I can't remember his name for the life of me, but it was Damon Kemp's brother. Yeah, Stephen Chambers got there. Yeah, Stephen Chambers got it.
And Stephen Chambers, with that, you have earned some mark bucks.
Wasn't Odyssey Jones taken in that draft too, and then didn't show up for like another year, and then quickly got
No. He ended up having some type of allegations with him because that was after the Big E neck injury. And they were going to add him to the New Day, and then something happened, and they just dropped the whole storyline.
Yeah, what I was saying was that was the same draft where Odyssey Jones got drafted, and then
I don't think it was, but it's possible.
And then they didn't use him for a year until that.
I thought that was Veer.
No, Veer was coming.
He still is. We're still waiting for. Yo, he's taking as long to show up as it's taken Iron Sheik to get to the ring.
Odyssey Jones, there was no mention of whatsoever after he got drafted until they brought him out for the New Day thing, and then he got fired a couple weeks later.
Yeah. We got a Blake Monroe video package this week on NXT with her first title defense will be at MSG. Curious to see who that will be against.
I didn't like her having the belt like so close to the water there. But you don't want to get that metal all rusty.
Yeah, now let's talk about my second complaint of the week. Which I really don't like that this is a complaint because it's about NXT, and I think NXT is the best show WWE puts out on a weekly basis. Again, there was a time where it wasn't, and now it is again. And now I would like to say real quick, I still thought this was a fantastic match that I was into watching the entire time for the TNA Knockouts Championship. Jordan defending against Jordan Grace. Which I would also like to point out, Jordan Grace had new ring gear this week.
Yeah, it was a Halloween thing, I think.
I'm not sure. It was kind of reminding me of Molly Holly's, or not Molly Holly. Oh God, I mean it kind of did, but I also have like another person who wore similar gear.
I don't remember what she wore.
But as I said earlier, Trick Williams and Ricky Saints even appeared during this match because they just come fighting out the back. And so, before we get to that, Stephen Chambers, which, yes, I would like to also point out, why is Kalani Jordan only a heel when she is champion? As soon as it's like she wins a championship, she's instantly a heel, she loses it, and she's a face again. It makes no sense. But speaking of this, so there's a spot in this match. Jordan Grace is sitting in the ropes with her legs being in the ring. So if you're sitting on the ropes with your body on the outside of the top rope, but your legs are inside the ring. And she's kind of hanging there. Kalani Jordan climbs to the top rope and hits a frog splash on Jordan Grace's legs. And what? Like, all Jordan Grace had to do was bend her legs. Like, it's not believable to me. Now, maybe it's like she was somehow hanging in the ropes upside down, like on her stomach, and did it. Maybe it would have made a little bit more sense to me. But the spot made no sense whatsoever. All Kalani Jordan did was hit a frog splash and then hit one of the roughest parts of the ring right next to the ropes.
Yeah, it looked a little goofy.
And Jordan Grace having to sell that is completely asinine.
Yeah.
It really is. Like, it's that was not believable. And I don't know if that was an idea they talked about in the back, or that was just a spur of the moment thing in the match. But no. Like, how does that be believable? You know, like, and I get there's certain things we could even question from 30, 40 years ago. You know, like Bret Hart bouncing off the person's leg and then like hip drop and then dropping into their hip. At least we could see where that would hurt. Right? Because depending on how he has the leg, which he did in all different positions, but typically the foot was turned onto the rope.
Yeah.
so that he was coming down on the joint or further up on the hip. It just made no sense to me. And I don't know how somebody in the back, as they're talking over this match, was like, I like that idea, do that. That's a good way to get Jordynne Grace. So you want Jordynne Grace to go outside the ring and sell a move that didn't look believable? Like, I was yelling at my TV for like a good 2 minutes. Like, really? This is what you do? And you know, it kind of took, as something that we brought up before, it's this little things that can take you out of a moment. I'm just glad after that happened, you kind of pulled me back in with having Saints and Williams coming out. And
They
causing
definitely
the ref,
recovered well.
yeah, and then forcing the ref to alter his attention to stop that because they needed the help. And then that had Kalani Jordan bring in the championship belt. And she hits Jordynne Grace with it and picks up the win. I mean, overall, it was a good match, but that definitely makes it lose points for me. Because it was you could have done something completely different, still using the top rope. Or just don't go up to the top rope at all. There are plenty of ways to do a move in the ropes to hurt the legs.
It would have looked really goofy if she did the same thing, but not from the ropes.
Well, not even the split. She's in the ropes. Kick her leg. You know, you could have just kicked her leg. You know, anything else. Anything else to get to that spot outside the ring. Like Jordynne Grace having to sell that move, completely horrible. You can do better. That's all I'm saying. Do better. You know what? It was so horrible. You disappointed Rick Blade. That's how horrible it was.
Damn! Yowie wowie!
Just a damn shame. But let's shift our attention now to some AEW, shall we? There's a couple.
Yeah,
nice
let's talk
things.
about the show that was well put together and yeah, go on.
I mean, I won't exactly say that, but it was a good show.
It was a really good show.
Yeah. And this is the difference with things, because we have weeks on AEW that will kick off with a promo. We have weeks where, like this week, we kicked off with the Tornado Tag Team match, which when I first saw advertised, I was like, oh, that's so the main event. Or at least the undercard to the main event, right? No, that was the opening match, and that was a fun match to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. And like not having, any knowledge of what was coming, I can imagine like the pops. You hear the first theme song, the crowd pops. You hear the next theme song, the crowd pops. You know what I mean? Like that's how you want to start a show. And not for them just coming out to the ring and talking, but for a match. And this match absolutely delivered. Wheeler and Garcia, right?
Yes.
Okay, and Orange and Darby. Yeah, I mean, this was like a dream match I never knew I wanted to see until that moment. And it was everything I would want it to be.
Yeah, was a fun, great match to kick off, and like we kind of ran it down earlier. Then I'm very interested in this whole, after that, the Hook promo.
Yeah.
I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure you're never world champion. It really makes me consider what was happening in that group in the ops when he got injured, that he did not want to rejoin the group.
Yeah.
I think that seeds have been planted for somewhat of a deeper story, and as I've said about AEW, and I'll say this now, they are doing much better with storytelling recently.
Yeah,
where
yeah,
it
I
needs
have
to
noticed
be. But I'll never say they were absolutely horrible at it. This company's 6 years old.
that. Right, just a
You
lot of
know,
like, who is this guy and why do I care?
and if we want to compare anything in the first 6 years for them, let's compare it to TNA.
Right,
Where
sure.
because even though TNA was around and there was more competition, we could safely say when AEW debuted, TNA / Impact at the time wasn't all that great. It had its moments. It had moments, but when it came down to it, and I'm not saying they weren't putting on good matches or anything, there was nothing to draw you to want to consistently remember to watch it every week.
If I remember correctly, though, that wasn't the best era in ownership.
Yeah, we're talking about the previous owners and stuff like that.
I think that was still Dixie back then.
No, it wasn't. Dixie was gone by then, I think. I don't think
Okay.
Dixie was part of the Impact era.
And that was after
point.
Billy, right?
Yeah, way after Billy, because
Way
NWA was going. Because
Yeah.
let's be honest, Impact kind of picked up during COVID, where now
Oh,
people
yeah.
were looking for stuff to watch. So if you're a wrestling fan, you're like, oh wow, I'm stuck in the house. There's nothing really open.
Be right.
Hey, look, there's this channel called Axis, and wait, there's pro wrestling on here. Okay. But yeah, like just you look at the first 6 years, we'll say of TNA, they did good matches. They had names that drew, but there was nothing really making you want to spend $15 a week on pay-per-view to watch it, because that's how the first couple years were. And then they went, I believe, to Fox Sports 1 for their cable debut, and they had some good shows then. It was just different. And there was a lot of bad wrestling on that show. You go back and look at very early AEW. You see some really good matches and you see some really bad matches.
Yeah.
And you could still see back then the issue was they would figure it out like TNA. They would figure it out for a while. Then all of a sudden you have somebody new come in like Hogan and Bischoff. I think I had a good conversation with a friend yesterday about this. Imagine if Bischoff had gone into TNA without Hogan.
There's no Hulkamaniacs here.
Imagine he goes in there without Hogan.
That would have been a disaster.
No,
I mean, it was a disaster.
No, yeah. I'm saying with Hogan, it was. We take Hogan having to put himself forward in all the major storylines and stuff.
Actually, come to think of it, yeah.
You just have Bischoff as an on-air authority figure helping with the booking in the back.
Right. Yeah, that might have worked.
Yeah, because now we're talking about the equivalent of how close TNA almost had Paul Heyman at one point. And it didn't happen. If Paul Heyman walks into the old TNA, having some of his old ECW guys there, plus a lot of these new names, like an up-and-coming AJ Styles, an up-and-coming Samoa Joe,
right.
up-and-coming Frankie Kazarian, Motor City Machine Guns, and then eventually the Young Bucks. And
that's the ultimate universe I want to live in.
Like, there's no story. And then we're still talking about maybe we still get the Bully Ray heel turn. And it's just done differently. We get an Aces and 8 that's maybe closer to the NWO actually running roughshod. Because we had Garrett Bischoff in this group. And that's something I could see Eric Bischoff on screen. Hey, I can repeat the NWO angle now. Put myself back in a spot of authority. Help and being the one that can protect this group. And they can do whatever they want because of it. And I'm not saying, because I already love the Aces and Eights story how it was, But in an alternate universe, it goes that way. It could be very interesting, and not having the Hogan involvement. I would still switch from the 6-sided ring to the 4 to what we have now. Because the guys really didn't like using it all the time. They go to Mexico or something, it's one thing. But having to plan around that, and it's kind of, even for me as a fan, it's kind of awkward to watch at times. Do I miss the idea of how Ultimate X used to be with having the 6 sides? You could have all 6 guys up there at once, trying to make a V. Yeah. But that's a bygone era of TNA. And now we look at AEW. We're 6 years in. Hey, Tony Khan knows what he likes now. He loves his multi-man matches. We see him all the time, whether it's an 8-man tag, 6-man tag, 10-man tag, fatal 4-way, tag team match, a regular fatal 4-way match, which we had 2 fatal 4-ways, 1 tag team, and 1 singles this week. Just like Violent J and JCW loves his battle royals. Which, speaking of that real quick, Vince Russo is involved with them now. Any thoughts on that?
If anywhere I would want to see him, it's there. He has the freedom to do pretty much whatever he wants and be as ridiculous as he wants, and they'll make it work. And he won't, get thrown off the air. Like,
I'm not worried about that. So, just to do a really quick Russo timeline, right? We get Russo in WWF during the Attitude Era.
right.
We get these influx of controversial and edgy storylines, and coupled that with the talent able to pull that off. And the fact of the Monday Night Wars with WCW and what the competition was doing at the time.
Right.
And you have these guys like Hunter and Shawn starting DX, and then that evolving into what it evolved in. What Stone Cold evolved into, what The Rock evolved into, what eventually Triple H became. Which a lot of that's not Vince Russo, but those seeds were planted during that time.
Right.
And and then we had other guys like Dustin Rhodes as Goldust. We see a lot. We had at that time Don Callis as the Jackal. The Jackal.
Jackal, yeah.
So, you had the right talent to do the right storylines at the time. And then 2000, Vince Russo goes to WCW. And tried to recreate that. Did not work. Did not work. And he even went back on his word. Oh, I'm not going to be the type to go involve myself in storylines like Vince. First thing you did, you came out and stripped everybody of their championships and crowned new champions.
Such a Russo thing to do.
Yeah, and I hope all the best for JCW. I am a fan of their product, which also, by the way, congratulations to the Outbreak for winning those tag team championships, and congratulations to Always Ready, Matt Cardona, for winning the JCW championship.
Awesome!
But I just hope it doesn't go the opposite way, because the clashing of stuff, because I've read stuff to where I've read that Violent J is very hands-on, a lot like Vince. As hard-working, if not harder working with Vince when it comes to it. But just that aspect of it. Because Russo's somebody who wants control.
Yeah.
And I think JCW has the audience and has the talent to do some of the stuff that could be very Attitude Era-esque, which the fans would pull fans in, I think.
Yeah.
I even saw something where JBL spoke about JCW and kind of talked about it a little bit. And he's like, you know what? Hey, good for them that they got Russo. I'm not sure if he said he's a fan of Russo or not. I know he said they have a okay relationship, I believe. And, but he's like, JCW's been around for 20 years. I love working with those guys.
Yeah.
And it's surprising that they haven't gotten some weird TV deal or something like that. And I kind of agree with that. It is kind of surprising. But then again, I look at them a lot like GCW. You get the TV deal, you have to scale back to where you can go on an online streaming platform like Triller or something like that. And you could be within their guidelines, or you're just consistently on YouTube doing your thing, Twitch,
Right.
whatever else you want to stream at. But anyway, back to what we were talking about, which is some AEW here. Another match I really enjoyed from this week. The Kyle O'Reilly, Jon Moxley rematch.
Yeah, that was a good one, too. I love the Fatal 4-Way Tag Team match. That was a great match.
Yeah, we had women's tag team championship tournament match. Sisters of Sin defeat Jamie Hayter and Queen Aminata, which leads to an interesting announcement, if I remember how it played out correctly. And I do believe this will be our first women's blood and guts match. On one side will be AEW women's, former AEW women's world champions Jamie Hayter and Toni Storm. You will have Queen Aminata, Harley Cameron, and Willow Nightingale with current women's world champion Chris Statlander on one side. On the other side, TBS champion, a million belts Monet at this point, will be teaming with Megan Bayne, Marina Shafir, who was in the place of Penelope Ford now, which, by the way, their tag team match on Collision against Tegan Nox in the WWE. And her partner, I can't think of her name. Whoo! I loved Moxley on commentary for that match on Collision. That was absolutely great. He's like, I'm just out here to see what these two are going to do. He's like, me and Shafir were warming up in the back, and he had like a scab on his forehead. He's like, she busted me open even during our warm-ups. Like, I want to know what's going to happen here. Yeah, Arbery got taken out by Shafir. Yeah, a shame for Penelope Ford, because her and Bane was one of our people that was like, that could be a random good first champions for that tag team division. Dude, Mox, he's entertaining when he wants to be. When you can put him in those little side moments where he's not involved in having to be serious, it's absolutely great. And he knows how to hit those marks. He did in WWE with some horrible ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the other side, again, Mercedes Moné, Megan Bayne, Marina Shafir, and then Triangle of Madness, Tekla, Sky Blue, and Julia Hart. Very interesting teams for this. Given this, not the state of that division, because it's a good division. Overall, if you just look at that women's roster over there, it's a very talented roster they have for the women there. A lot of young, up-and-coming talent. Also, a lot of missing talent.
Yeah.
You know, will we ever see Britt Baker in an AEW ring again?
Probably not.
But this should be interesting, and I'm kind of looking forward to this. And then now, on the men's side, we have Darby Allin. Oh, but real quick, the setup to that whole thing this week, after the O'Reilly and Moxley match, where all the fighting starts breaking out. You get Roderick Strong coming out, then you got the rest of the Death Riders coming out, the collaboration coming out, and Orange Cassidy, Mark Briscoe just talking, and no, I don't want to do it. No, I don't want to talk about it. No, I don't. Blood and guts. Oh God, absolutely great. Pop me. I love Orange Cassidy. I love how it works. He, like, as I will always say, when it comes to breaking the fourth walls of wrestling and making it entertaining, he is my version of Deadpool in pro wrestling, is Orange Cassidy. Because for him, it doesn't matter whether he wins or loses. You know, when you need him to be that guy, he can be that guy. We saw that with the International Championship.
Oh,
and
yeah.
he was a fighting champion. Let's see, what else do we have? But yeah, when they did the whole Shafir and Bane team up thing in the back, when Bane's like, who will step up and be my partner with Penelope injured? Did you see that? I loved Mox's reaction with that. That was absolutely great. But yeah, let's talk about these fatal four-ways real quick. FTR defeating Jet Speed, Jurassic Express, and the Young Bucks.
Yeah.
I was kind of surprised about that. I kind of thought Jurassic Express would get that shot.
Yeah, I did not expect FTR to win that one.
Is this setting up somehow toward a Cope and Christian return? FTR wins the championships, and we see them get one last attempt at tag team gold.
I wouldn't hate that.
I don't know.
Adam Cole might not be around for a very long time, if at all, from what I hear.
And see, FTR, I can see getting the tag titles back. They're on a good run right now, and I can see it. I just don't know if I put the titles on Cope and Christian. Not that quick.
Yeah.
Maybe at Revolution in January or March. Like, you could probably stretch that out and get a couple more matches out of them. Have FTR, maybe have them do the World's End match. FTR beats them. All right, now we need to have one more match. And then maybe you let them have one last final run. Or you do the ultimate thing and they win the match and that's Adam Copeland's retirement. And I wouldn't want to see Christian walk away, but that would be a good way just to wrap it up. And then we truly wrap up an era of tag team wrestling. And then, because I see the Hardys going maybe another year or two full time or even part time before just coming in and out of wrestling or going on the indies. You know what? Nick Wayne, yes, I agree with that, but how much of a fan of his I am, it seems like every time he gains momentum, something happens to, whether it's what's needed on TV or whatever, it seems like we take a step backwards. And then the Fatal 4-Way #1 contenders match for the World Championship. We have Samoa Joe tap out Hook to win. Which on Collision, I loved Hook's explanation because they did like a quick backstage interview type thing. The cameraman comes up and asks him, he's like, so what made you just give up there? He was like, he had me. I had nowhere to go. It's better to tap out and live to fight another day than sit there and try to fight out something I'm not going to get out. Perfect. Eddie Kingston's like, is that good enough? Can you go now? So glad Eddie Kingston's back. But yeah, they did a really good job with that #1 contenders Fatal 4-Way as well.
Yeah, that was an amazing match too. I mean, this show, like, the match quality has been there recently. The storylines have been way better since Moxley lost the belt. I feel like that was the turning point for when the storylines started to improve.
Well, this was the whole point. Like, the idea was, like, I will never say Mox's championship reign wasn't interesting, and it was a draw. Things did improve in AEW during his title reign. So there's a reason they kept the title on him, whether me as a fan was missing a couple key components to be invested in it.
I'm not saying that it's that storyline specifically. I'm just saying in general, like, the show as a whole, like, I feel like it's starting to get a lot better after that.
Yeah, I do. It feels like they were already working up toward that, and now we just hit a good stride at the moment with them where everything's clicking. They have the talent they need. We have Jack Perry back. Which I don't care what anybody says. Give the kid time. Like, every time that he leaves and comes back, it seems like he's improved. I like this new version. He's not Jungle Boy Jack Perry. He's just Jungle Jack Perry. I like the look. I like that things have gradually moved on and he just didn't convert all the way backwards to that character.
Right, yeah. It's an evolution and not a regression. Yeah.
Yeah. Or even now a melding of two different gimmicks, and they figured out how to make it work. You know, and he can still go on and do single stuff. Right now, he's in this whole tag team thing, and it seems like whatever is the link is with Kenny and the Young Bucks right now. But we'll see where things go. I did like the end of Dynamite this week with everybody coming out in the costumes. You had the Ops in the ring after winning, and we had Tony Schiavone out there, and at some point he switches places with Adam Page.
Tony Schiavone rocking his Phantom of the Opera costume, which was a nod to WCW back.
Yes. I love how they put that. And as soon as I started seeing him at ringside, I noticed it. But they kept trying to keep the camera far enough away. But if you can tell the height. Otherwise, they did a good job of making up Page. That as long as you weren't up on him.
Yeah.
That you would think he was Schiavone. Absolutely great. Just a couple side notes of other things throughout the week in wrestling. We had Nathan Frazier, Dragunov Open Challenge, U.S. Open Challenge, which they put on a great match.
Yeah.
Like, anybody who says these small guys and big guys shouldn't be in the ring together, like, with the way it's kind of become hybrid now, even with the big guys. The big guys in the last, 10 years have gotten same size, but have gotten faster, with being just as hard hit, and some of them even do top rope moves now.
Well, there's not that much of a size difference between Dragunov and
well,
Frazier.
more of that muscle size and their style. Like, you look at Dragunov, you're like, that's somebody that competes for a world title. You look at Frazier, that's somebody that competes for a cruiserweight or intercontinental championship, or a U.S. championship in this case.
I don't know, maybe now, but I mean, before Dragunov's injury, they were very similar in size.
Nathan Frazier versus Cody Rhodes for the WWE Undisputed Championship. Book it.
I'm about it. Someone's got to take that off of him. Reason for him to turn heel. Homelander against the superhero faces.
Yeah. We had Carmelo Hayes beat Kit Wilson, which was a match set up the previous week. Miz attacks Hayes. Obviously, we knew that feud wasn't over. Nathan Frazier's talented, man.
Yeah.
There's a lot of these younger guys I'm invested in that I want to keep watching. I just hope that the rest of the product around them doesn't collapse. We had Alexa Bliss beating Nia Jax. I liked the Damian Priest video package from this week. We had Rey Fenix challenging Tala Tonga. Yeah, that's a good move, let me tell you. We had the
He made an even smarter move later in the show.
We had the MFT defeat the Motor City Machine Guns. And then they go and start jumping them. We had Nakamura coming out, Rey Fenix coming out. So, you know what? I feel like we could see MFT versus the Motor City Machine Guns, Rey Fenix, and Nakamura in a War Games match.
I still want the Wyatts versus MFT.
So do I, but I'm just looking at it as who would you add to them?
Who?
To take the Wyatts to take Nikki Cross's place, because we're not going to do an intergender match, especially for War Games.
Oh, you're right. This isn't TNA.
I'm just putting that out there, which that was the one thing that anytime we talked about was like, either you got to eliminate a person off the other team, or you got to find somebody that would fit that. And you know what? If I'm going to randomly throw somebody in that spot, and you can somehow just delay their feud for a couple weeks for the setup.
Oh, wait.
Aleister
Wyatts
Black.
are down to like 3 males.
4 males.
Who?
Eric Rowan, Joe Gacy, Dexter Loomis, and Bo Dallas.
Bo Dallas isn't around.
Yes, he is.
No, he's going to be out longer.
No, he's able to come back. Well, I'm just saying, in the case, that's the group at the moment. That's what we would be looking at as the match. You know, like if you had to replace one person and we're looking at the groups, the person you have to replace is Nikki Cross.
Well, if Bo is available, just don't have Solo in the match.
But still, you still got to replace Nikki Cross.
Why?
Because again, there's no women on the MFT team.
Right.
So then it would
Bo
be
is available.
So then if Bo is available,
yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you said if he wasn't a bit. I misheard. Okay.
Yeah. But I mean, otherwise, yeah. I mean, I see it's probably not going to end up like this. They're leaning in other directions now.
But if you had to plug somebody in, I'd plug in Aleister Black into that match with them.
I wouldn't include anyone who's not already a member of the team.
No, but I'm just saying, like it. Well, no, because they would probably be the baby faces. So then Damian Priest. Like just somebody that would be added in there. You just have to add somebody so the teams are even. You know.
Yeah,
I just don't. It's just the problem is there's not a lot of people who you would say would be on good standing with the Wyatts.
Yeah.
That are still on that roster at the moment. You know, that would be like, I'll do it for Bray.
The Miz.
Nah, that's the last person. You know, all right. Completely random name who was associated with the Wyatts for a short time, Randy Orton. To add star power into that match.
Yeah, no, that would.
But you know, no, it's just it looks like it's more MFT versus the Machine Guns, Phoenix, Nakamura, right. And maybe you can if you choose to use all five, you find another fifth person to throw in there.
Axiom.
Maybe Sami Zayn, because he's been involved in this whole U.S. picture because he was attacked as well.
And he's been constantly. He had another backstage segment where he was like.
Oh, I love the one with him and Dragunov from last. Oh,
that was great. That was phenomenal.
And then this week's was good too. Like he's like, I'm just trying to be here. Like just because I'm not champion doesn't mean I don't want to compete.
Yeah, that would work. But I mean, you know, they're a couple of weeks away, and there's plenty of options at this point.
Yeah, we have a couple weeks still. It's just it's more or less getting there, right? Like, where does this go? And that seems like it's just, at the moment, that's the obvious way to go.
War Games!
Yes, Mr. Regal. War Games. That is correct. But now, because we didn't do it last week because we had so much to talk about. There it is. What is your match of the week, sir?
I would love to go Dragunov Frazier. That was an amazing match.
Oh, yes, it was.
Didn't like the way it ended. So I'm going to go with the opener from Dynamite. Orange Cassidy and Darby Allin versus Wheeler Yuta. And God, what's his name? Garcia.
Daniel Garcia. You know what? I'm going to go with the Fatal 4-Way #1 Contenders match from Dynamite.
That was a great one, too.
I really liked how Bobby Lashley was getting ready to go through the ropes as Hook tapped. Like, if it just gave the feel that literally, if he had looked a second sooner and realized what was happening, he would have gotten in the ring and broke it up.
Yeah.
I am literally in the middle of that match before I had to do things and did not get to finish Collision, but that was also good. That was good from what I saw as well. I still have like 10 minutes left to finish that show. Which I'm usually pretty good about finishing that before going live. Oh. Kyle Larson won? Yeah. So, just real quick, I am a fan of NASCAR. And congratulations to Kyle Larson on winning the NASCAR championship and becoming a 2-time champion. Which, by the way, is also my current favorite driver. But yeah, really, I thought the tag team #1 contenders match was really good as well. That was another pick I wanted to do because I liked how that match completely worked out too. Just real quick now, again, starting this Friday for the next 3 Fridays in a row, 7 p.m. bell time at the Pro Wrestling Star Academy in Mount Holly, New Jersey. Catch SPO live. And then that $10 admission to get in the door, you will also see Monster Factory for the next 3 weeks. Also, so you get 2 shows for $10. That's $5 a show, and the ticket covers both shows. That's a great deal, if you ask me. What do you think there, BJ? Great deal?
Yeah. I can't wait. It's great that you know what I mean. We're getting 3 shows in a row. You know, we're getting consistent wrestling locally.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, I didn't even hear about NJ and NJP Dub in Jersey.
Why can I not scroll on anything? This is weird. Well, I was just going to pop up some graphics, but for some reason, it won't let me scroll.
What were you gonna pop up? I got you.
I was going to pop up some of the PWU stuff.
Like this.
Yeah, Zombie King will also be there on the 22nd. Hit that. Yeah, just go through them. Yeah, and then also don't forget PWU Justified. Saturday, November 22nd, 7 p.m. bell time.
No, I did that one.
At the Pro Wrestling Star Academy, 22 King Street, Mount Holly, New Jersey, where all these greats will be appearing. And don't forget the Fatal 4-Way main event for the PWU Championship. Justified. JP Grayson defending against Rick Blade, Johnny Cashmere, and Joey Janela. Go to pwunplug.com, use promo code GINGER, and save yourself some money while getting the tickets. And you'll get to meet us while you're there, if you want to do such a thing. And then December 7th, just saw a whole nother thing announced for this, where you know the guy that Eric Stevens had the cards made, those Pokemon style cards.
Right. Yeah.
That person that company's going to be there as well.
Oh, cool. I never excuse me. I never plug myself, but I feel the need to do that right now. I do a live stream. It's not wrestling related, but I drink a bunch of beers and interact with chat, and it's usually a pretty fun time. So it varies whether it's Friday or Saturday night, depending on what I have going on. Next week, it will definitely be Saturday because I'll be at the SPO show on Friday. But yeah, check out BJ Drinks Beer on YouTube. If you're into craft beer or THC beverages, I review a bunch of stuff like that. And yeah, it's usually a pretty good time.
Sometimes I randomly pop on here and there, so you know.
Sometimes he doesn't pop on; he just messes with me.
Hey, you know, I gotta have my fun somehow, you know. but usually it's a good time, you know. He sits there, he chills out, talks to people about stuff, enjoys some adult beverages, you know, and that's what it is.
I drank a beer. I drank another beer.
These are my streams right here.
4 beers. Oh no. 5 beers. Oh no. 6 beers. 7 beers. 8 beers. 9 beers. I don't even know if that's PG.
Oh, I keep it clean.
Damn.
And that's BJ Drinks Beer on YouTube.
That doesn't work for me, brother.
But yes, everybody, and just in case you're wondering, don't forget to like and follow. Keep an eye out on our channel because we don't have everything down yet, so it could just randomly happen, but we could start being live on Tuesday nights from time to time now, talking some indie wrestling going on in the local area. So keep an eye out for news on our social medias about that. It'll be posted here on YouTube as well. And I'm looking forward again to some good wrestling this week. Hopefully between Disposed shows on Friday nights and everything, I'm able to catch it all. Because there's a lot going on.
Oh, yeah.
And just remember, all of us here at BJ and DG Talk Wrestling,
I'm better than you, and you know it.
Bye-bye, bitch.
And on that note, I will ring the bell and get us out of here. Catch you guys next time on another episode of BJ and DG Talk Wrestling.
Acknowledge me.
Hey wrestling fans, this is Rick Blade telling you to tune in for BJ and DG, best wrestling talk on YouTube.